All right, good morning. It's early in the morning. Sun is rising out there. Here in Ka'anapali Beach. Welcome, my name is Craig Hamilton-Bradley, in case I run for president. Thank you for supporting my channel. All good things at all good time, where life is always good. It's a great day to be alive. Thank you for supporting my channel. Try not to make noises when I consume this. Something I've learned about myself. I make a lot of sounds. More than the average person, most likely. I've been living alone, so nobody complains about all the sounds I make. All right. Again, if you're a victim of the fire and your stuff burned up, but your hard drives didn't exceed 1400 degrees, those discs are savable. Your pictures are savable, and you can have your data retrieved at no cost by drivesavers.com. So call them, get that done. All right. John Madden was celebrated yesterday at the halftime of one of the football games, and of course I'm a big fan of John Madden, and I'm gonna try to put a little mustard on this Talking Story show in his honor. Okay. And I was at at the local store up the street. It's a ABC store or a Whalers General Store, one of those two. And local guys were coming in after a hard day's work and picking up beer one after another. And if you don't know this, Heineken is a very popular beer here. Has always been, as far as I know, and I speculate as to why that might be, and you know, if there's kind of reasons for that, but it is the most popular beer by far. All the green bottle beer, Steinlager too. But it would be interesting. Then I thought, and I just said it because it, you know, just came to mind. But like, it's not a bad idea. Heineken, like in the United States, if not everywhere, if not just for a while, could change its name from Heineken to Hawaiian. Especially for this state. If it changed its name to Hawaiian with the red star, oh my God, that would be received quite well. It's kind of interesting. So if you didn't know it, Heineken is a beloved beer in the great state of Hawaii. And here I am in the weird isolation after the fire. The fire burned down life. Let's do a water quality test, since it's been pretty shitty. And you know, it's actually a worthwhile thing to do, considering the fire and all. But yeah, 465 parts per million. It's kind of a lot on the scale of parts per million. We'll put this through the zero water. Now, my zero water has been around for a little while. It's not brand new, and eventually they do stop being good at their job. Let's test Aquafina. Let's see what Aquafina is. Boom. Okay. 15 parts per million. So a lot different than 465, which is our tap water. Hope it's okay to bathe in. All right. Of course, it would be cool to have a pH tester as well. I gotta get one of them things. I don't imagine they're probably too much money. Now, the argument my daughter would say, that's because it's mineral water, Dad. So yeah, Arrowhead last time was like 190 parts per million or something like that. But maybe it's because it's mineral water. Maybe it's all just things that are good for you. Yeah, 197 parts per million, 198. Arrowhead. It could be the minerals though, right? I don't know. What do I know? I'm no expert on anything. At the end we'll test this and see if it's all worn out or not. Because I've been running this tap water, and the worse your water is, the quicker these things become useless. There you go, 21 parts per million for, is that the Safeway water signature? I think so. I think that's the Safeway water. Let's see, Costco water. Oh, that's my coffee. Let's test the Costco water. This was, I think, 30 parts per million last time. Or 20 parts per million last time, if I remember correctly. Yep, 20 parts per million. Oh, right, and then this one is a spring water. Could have, you know, maybe it's got high parts per million because it's spring water. And it's got minerals. I don't know. Let's see what it says. 103 parts per million, yeah. But maybe spring water's better for you because maybe those parts per million are things that are good for you. What do I know? Cheers. All right. I've been thinking on the west side, there really aren't too many places to go now where there's any kind of community. And I thought maybe Dolly's would be good, and I went there, and yes, it turns out to be a place like that. It's been a social cornerstone for many, apparently, because it's like one of the only places you could go. It's the only place open past 9 o'clock, etc. So that's interesting. I went there, got a pizza, brought it back. You know, I was thinking if I was the mayor, because there's people like who've been cast out of hotels or weren't allowed in or weren't qualified or whatever, but there's not that many of them, right? There's a few people here and there that are, you know, living on the grass right over here or living on the beach right behind me. And it would be cool if the mayor just went around and approaches people and say, hey, let's get you services, let's get you some shelter, let's see what we can do to, you know, improve your situation, because it's not as though it's a expansive amount. I mean, it's a finite number, the number of people that are displaced and homeless now on the west side, and I mean, it just wouldn't be that hard to go clean that up and help those people all at the same time. So yeah, that's what I would do if I was the mayor. The mayor was on TV the other night and he said something that's kind of interesting, right? It's like haunting. He said, it's just a matter of when, you know, we should do it, but, you know, the government can take from one and give to another, right? Which just sounded haunting. But what he was talking about was vacation rentals. And it's interesting because I think if you interpret that, what he's saying is like Airbnbs and VRBOs, I think, specifically, could be just like commandeered to house people, right? And the interesting thing is, while that doesn't sound like a favorable way to do business, it plays out on an audience that already isn't in favor of these things. It's the kind of thing that disrupts an ecosystem of housing when people decide, instead of renting a space out, they're going to monetize it with tourism and make it an Airbnb, right? There are people who would prefer that to exist less or not at all, and that has put a pinch on housing. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think basically what it feels like they're doing is just, we're this mass, where they're just gonna, as much attrition as possible, whether they reject someone because they found a pipe in their room, and they kick them out. Once they're out, their hands are clean. They just don't help them anymore after that. And then they're homeless out here, and they might even have a job. And anyway, so there's that. Then there's the case, I talked to a lady saying that elderly people are being sent off in some cases to Molokai, to a retirement home there. I hope that's not against their will. And so, etc. But on the other hand, it seems like they'll probably house us here for maybe a little while, because they don't want to build anything for us, right? Any kind of real temporary housing or anything. They don't want to import any small homes or tiny things like that and do any of that business. And the way they can avoid that is by just keeping us here until they can slowly but surely get rid of us all, or as many as possible, and then just reduce their costs while they avoid having to do anything long term, and while they try to pick us off one at a time and send us off in different ways. They did take all the people who were previously homeless out and make them homeless again. I'm sure that people feel differently about that. What else? Tourists are here, and it's weird because they're just all so happy, and they're not all very good tippers. And there is kind of that's the one thing that doesn't make any sense. But I did find speaking of that, I found where to get my car safety. There's only 2 places on the west side to get your car safety, and the one that burned down is gone, and the only one left is the one at Bill Throckmorton's. And on the sign, Bill wrote for his employee, if you don't tip, I don't eat. I like to eat. So, yeah. But anyway, so that was just funny, and it's exciting to find and get it done on one of my cars. A tip, if you live in Hawaii, if you never thought of this, is you always want to have, and you can like wait 31 days and make your safety, in case your safety same time as your registration. You just do your safety late, and 1 year, like 2 months late, and then that'll save you a little bit of money, or go 31 days late. You won't get pulled over in that 1 month, and then it's after your registration, because if you don't, you got to go get a temporary safety, then go get your registration, then go back and get your full safety, and it's a hassle, right? You always want your registration to come before safety, like a couple months, so that you can go get your registration while you have your safety, and then go get your safety while you have your registration. Anyway, if you never thought of that, it's a great way to make your life just a little bit easier. Let's test zero water. After I've been, a couple months on this thing. It's supposed to be good for like 8 or 10 gallons at this rate. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Yeah, the zero water's not working anymore. Look at that. Interesting. Good to know. I gotta go get a new filter. 400 parts per million out of the zero water now, because it's full of contaminants. All right. It's funny, this girl up here in the parking lot has a car. On the back of it, it has her Venmo. That's kind of smart. Like, feel like that's just not a bad idea to have that on the back of your car. I'm tempted to do that myself. Anyway, it feels weird. It's like starting a GoFundMe page. It feels weird, but then you're like, why didn't I do it sooner? I waited 3 weeks. Man, that's what, if you go through a disaster, start a GoFundMe on the first day. Why not? Yeah, as you may know, I have a dream of opening a small little space where I can tell jokes. A little no alcohol, cash only comedy club. So out of the ashes, I'm hoping to create that. There's space right now, right on the edge of town, that I'm gonna see if I can rent. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, there's vacant space, because business is lean and a lot of places just went out of business. It's interesting now they're offering payouts to people who've been burned and injured, or they lost their family members. The state has a $150 million fund to make payments to people like that, and the governor mentioned $1 million payouts to people who suffered. Interesting, of course, get them to sign off on liability and to say they won't sue. It's been 3.5 months, and starting to finally get some things done, and my brain's starting to work normally, it seems like. Although it's very distracting having this terrible conflict. I've got cable TV now in a hotel room, and I grew up on cable TV, and I just leave it's on a lot, and I watch all the channels, and all this war coverage is just so unpleasant and disheartening, and all the stupid stupid things people do in our country, with guns, shooting each other. It's frustrating to watch, and it would be much worse to experience. And I just feel sorry for people who have to deal with all that, because it's gotta suck. So this is a pretty cool story. This is a story from the second time I rode a bicycle across the United States of America. I rode a bicycle across the United States 3 times to raise awareness for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children 30 years ago. So in the summer of 1991, the second time, I rode through from Philly to Pittsburgh. If you've never heard this joke, it's funny for people from Pennsylvania never heard this joke, but it's common in some circles apparently. A lot of people know this joke, but you got Philadelphia on one side, Pittsburgh on the other, and Alabama in the middle, or in between. That's one interesting joke. And then I was told some terrible West Virginia jokes right after Pennsylvania, up in Wheeling, West Virginia. I went through the little panhandle of West Virginia. Anyway, the Allegheny Appalachian Mountains don't get super tall, but they're just, as you've seen on a map, they're just these long lines going up and down, which means in the old days, before they really got smart with road building, they just built roads straight up and straight down and straight up and straight down, and it is tiresome if you're on a bicycle riding through the Appalachian Mountains on your way to Pittsburgh. And at the top of one of these hills, and so I would often be pushing my bike up one and then going 40 miles an hour down the other. Fully loaded mountain bicycle, no suspension, and at the top of one of these hills was a little bar, and I went in and I did my thing where I said, "Pardon me, I happen to be riding a bicycle across the United States of America, and all my stuff is on my bicycle. I was just wondering, could I put it over here, maybe somewhere inside the bar, so I could, comfortably have a beer. And oh yeah, bring it on in. Put it over there by the jukebox. So I bring in my bicycle, put it near the jukebox in this tiny little bar at the top of a little mountain, and I sit down at the bar, and they got Rolling Rock. Rolling Rock comes from Pennsylvania, and they got Rolling Rocks. And I say I'd like, and of course I just announced that I was riding a bicycle across the United States. Now that's the manipulative part, my part. Once you tell the bartender that, the person next to you hears that, and now everyone knows what you're doing, and they're immediately on your side. So I sit down at the bar, and I said, I'd like a Rolling Rock, and she said, here you go. It was like might have been a 10-ounce glass, maybe 12, a Pilsner glass. She said, that'll be 35 cents. 35 cents for a beer. Now at that time, a normal beer, a good beer might be $3 or $4 in a bar. So 35 cents was still just way below anything you'd ever heard of. And so I said, I'll have two. And then I tried to give her $1. The guy next to me said, I'll pay for his beers. He puts down $1 and gets change. 70 cents for two beers. And his name was Scott Swank. I can remember that. It was a lot of stuff was lost in the fire, a lot of names, but I'm pretty sure I can remember his name because it was in a newspaper article that I read a few times afterwards. Somerset County Daily News, I think, did a real nice story. But Scott Swank owned a boat marina somewhere in the area, and was just the nicest fella. He said, and he had this killer house with his own pond and a single wide that had a bar in it. In Pennsylvania, the liquor laws are so messed up, such a pain in the ass. People just have their own keg at home, right? Because it's just ridiculous, the liquor laws. They're stupid. So he says to me, hey man, where are you gonna stay? Because this always happens, people who care about you because they're good people, they always ask you the same thing. Where are you gonna stay? Where do you stay? And then you tell them, I'm trying to figure that out right now. And they say, oh, stay at my place. So that's how that went. So he says, hey man, I got a place. My wife and kids are gone for the weekend. I got my whole place to myself. If you need a place to stay, man, come crash at my place. So he gave me his living room, had a big TV. I love it when people do that and there's a TV, because the Weather Channel has been around a long time, and it was around then. And when you're riding a bicycle across the United States, of course, you like to watch the Weather Channel. That's a big deal in your life. So, and it would be a bigger deal now, probably, because the weather is worse, even in the summer. So yeah, Scott Swank in the summer, 91, top of some little mountain, hooked me up, gave me a place to stay. It was super cool. Anyway, some good people out there, and that's really what the whole story of riding a bicycle across the United States was the story of somebody every day saying, hey, where do you stay? I don't know. Stay at my place. Okay. Just over and over. Just rinse and repeat. So that's a good story. I'm gonna try to get better at filming, get better filming equipment, which is basically better cameras. I've got the cheapest iPhone, the cheapest Google phone, and they're both getting old, and the battery's starting to suck on my Google phone. And then I got a free phone from after the fire, and it's terrible. It has that bad sound, and So I think I'm gonna trade that in and get a better phone or give it to them. Anyway, so hopefully, maybe I'll get. I hope to get a drone. I had one before, and I still have. I saved my drone and the remote, but all the other things, the batteries and the charger and instructions, all that burned up in the fire. So anyway, it's still my intention to get a drone and start figuring that out. Maybe get a laptop. Maybe figure out how to edit videos. That would be useful. Figure out how to jazz up my videos, jazz them up. Jazz hands. That's how you jazz up a video. So it's interesting. There's these lawyers trying to get us all into a lawsuit against the electric company, and I'm very tempted. Will I feel like, I should have got onto that train? And could that be a game changer? Could I get a little bit of a settlement or some amount? Would that be unethical? Would it be the right thing to do? Would I be stupid not to do it? And I'm very tempted to call a lawyer. It's funny, there's a TV show. God, I'm watching a lot of TV. Too much TV. But there's a TV show just about this subject that I once mentioned on stage, trying to make it into a joke or whatever. But it was just, if you haven't seen it, there's this aspect of dog showing where people dance with their dogs, and they make these doggy routines that are unbelievable. I mean, the amount of time people have to spend with their dogs it's gotta be just unbelievable. But this one lady did one where she was a soldier and she was with her dog, and they did this whole dance routine, and at the end she pretended to get shot, and she fell down and pretended to be dead, and her dog came up and gave her chest compressions. I mean, I tell you what, that was incredible. And now there's a TV show about doggy dancing, and so if you haven't seen that, I mean, it seems to mostly be women dancing with their dogs, but I can't. It's unbelievable. My TV's on the guide, How to Train Your Dragon. That's a pretty good movie for kids. I watched that with my kids years ago. But that kind of sounds like a book some guy would write about his penis. How to Train Your Dragon. Anyway, have you seen these? More TV. I'm just watching so much TV. Have you seen these advertisements for slip-in shoes? There's Skechers now make slip-in shoes, and then there's this other one, Kismet or something like that. They look like a good idea, but it is so funny because they advertise with skinny people. Okay. They need to advertise for fat people. My belly is right at that size where it is starting to get hard to tie my shoes, okay? That needs to be their audience that they're shooting for, because, I mean, if it's like, oh, yeah, I should get those shoes. Anyways. Yeah, my God, and all the infomercials that I haven't seen, that I'm just getting pounded with shark vacuum cleaner videos and Medicare Advantage videos and flex tape commercials and Total Gym commercials. Where's Chuck Norris? Chuck Norris is not there anymore in this Total Gym commercial. We didn't bring back Chuck Norris. That's what I say. That's what I always say, Bring back Chuck Norris. Gee whiz heck. I've been thinking, because you guys are so cool. And I have 5,000 people here, subscribers. Maybe that could be enough leverage to try to get a comedy club to actually give me some time on stage. So I emailed one club, and I'm going to email others. I'm going to start reposting old bits I did, just so it looks like I've been doing comedy. And yeah, I would fly to any city, anywhere in the country, if they would give me time on stage anywhere, and it'd be a great adventure. I can sneak in between I gotta talk to the emergency relief people like once every 5 days, check in with them, and in between check-ins, man, I could fly to a city and do some comedy if I could just find some place to do it. Anyway, I've been positively procrastinating. If you've never employed this technique, you avoid one thing by doing something else that is productive but different, right? Like you avoid exercising by getting your car safety, or you avoid getting your car safety by exercising. Or what else? What else I need to get done, or have been, or you avoid doing both by doing your laundry, you know, and you just avoid doing things by doing something else that's productive in another area of your life or whatever, and that is what I call productive procrastination. And all of that is a way to procrastinate doing this, which I've been procrastinating. So, yes, I can write a 1-paragraph book called Productive Procrastination, and I just pretty much said that paragraph. So, the philosophy of productive procrastination. Okay. Let's see. Oh, so the Maui Classic, I was wondering what was going to happen, and it went to Oahu. They're doing it on Oahu, which is cool. Came to Hawaii, I think, and they still called it the Maui Invitational, and it looks probably it'll be back next year. Where the Maui Invitational would have taken place is where all the FEMA and Red Cross and all the relief people are at. The SBA, unemployment, Social Security, Salvation Army, Maui Economic Opportunity, United Way. That's most of them. I think there might be others. Yeah, and if you're thinking about doing anything mean or harmful today, just don't. Stay home. I can't even believe what people get off their couch to go do. My God, you could be taking a nap, right? But instead you go out and do some mean thing or harmful thing, some hateful thing. Just stay home. Watch reruns of Shark vacuum cleaner ads, you know? Be amazed at how many pool balls it can suck. All right. Man. There's so much stuff going on in the world. What else? Yeah, it would be nice to see if there was a way for people to be repatriated, you know, anybody cast out of the system that's qualified because their house burned down, bring them back in. Let's take care of these people, you know. I mean, as you can imagine, like, you know, these people were kind of not in the best state of mind, and so, you know, people aren't perfect, and especially after their house and all their things burned down, you know. Like, there have been some suicides and an overdose. Down at the Hyatt, I think there have been 4 deaths. And so, anyway, we just need to be, you know, kind. What else is useful? I took the bus a while back, and I didn't know, but it's been free, which is cool. The parking at the Whaler Village has been free. What else? What else? Oh, there's a guy in Wailuku on Market Street, has a used CD and movie shop and comic book shop. And for victims of the fire, all CDs and DVDs are $3 in case you want to replenish some. And I kind of was fond of my CDs, and I've been thinking that's one thing I could replace if I worked at it. All the CDs, that I accumulated before I stopped buying CDs, which were like 250 of them. And they used to cost $20, so it was like an investment every time. So that's cool of him to do that. I can't remember the name of the shop. Joe owns it. It's right there on the corner, Market Street, in Wailuku Town. Oh, and if you're looking for a turkey recipe, you don't have to watch my video. Just put bacon on your turkey, or put cranberry underneath your bacon on top of your turkey, and maybe even put butter under that. But you could also just put bacon on your turkey, bacon flavored turkey. That's not a bad idea, right? What else? Gee whiz, heck, son of a gun. I think I'm gonna post some more of my older, a few times I've found some time on stage. And oh, and I'm about to post some footage of zoos. When my grandpa was making these movies, there was like there was no television, okay? And movies were brand new. And so all the cool things to do were things that he made movies of. And the next, I've got a DVD of the zoos of America, which are sad in the old days because the habitats were terrible. The habitats have gotten better, so you can feel good about it now, but you can feel bad for the old tigers and lions. But it's fascinating footage anyway of several zoos. I think I got San Francisco, Philadelphia, another one or two in there. So that's cool. And thanks for watching. All good things and all good time. What else about the fire can I tell you? Let's see, there's like there's several different places you can go get supplies and things and meals, and they're all not connected, which is interesting. And often they're connected to maybe a nonprofit. But there's one at Hanakoi Park, there's one at S-Turns, there's one at Napili Park, there's one up in the parking lot where McDonald's is in Kahana. That is the FEMA one, I think. And where else? Is there another one? Oh, and there's one right here, I think, in front of the Sheraton. So, and they're all a little different. So, oh, and I hope to maybe I'll make a video there. But I got a whole new set of jokes coming, and they're all just true. That's my favorite kind of joke. Who needs to write jokes when your friend's mom grows Mac nuts? She's my friend. My friend's mom's nuts. My friend's mom grows Mac nuts. She works on the farm. And the name of the farm is Mom's Nuts. So, and this girl is so funny, and she's got all these nut jokes, of course, because she's been working on her nut material for a while, and she's got a good sense of humor. So, I don't know, either she needs to become a stand-up comedy, or I need to steal all her nut jokes. But yeah, one of these days I hope to, you know, taste my friend's mom's nuts. You know, I bet my friend's mom's nuts taste really good. Look forward to having them in my mouth. Anyway, all right. I think that's enough. Oh, getting tired. Oh, they're still opening zones. Like, people today are finally allowed into their house 3.5 months later. So that's interesting, which means I can drive around in more places. Maybe I'll make another video. Those are incredibly popular. The videos of the fire and the carnage seem to be very popular videos. So maybe I'll do that and continue to document this experience in various ways. Yeah. Oh, and I hope to find some more interviews. My 85-year-old neighbor said he'll do one. That's exciting. Sweet old guy. Yeah, he'd been here for, let's see, 35 years he's lived here. And then a couple doors down, Hal, who was born and raised here, and he's 85. Born in 1937 in Lahaina. Both of them are taxi drivers, or former taxi drivers. So, but interesting lives nonetheless. All right, well, thanks again. I'm sorry for just rambling on so damn long. Appreciate your time. Do no harm, do no crime. Tip 20% when you go out to eat. I don't know what else. Try not to do gambling. Gambling's getting shoved down your throat. Resist the temptation. Try not to get drunk. Drink carefully. But getting drunk is dangerous. And don't shove shit up your nose, and don't pop pills, and yeah, that's how you hedge your bet, man. You have a great life if you just don't fuck it up. So yeah, life is good. It's so weird, right? Like in the wake of the town burning down, and your life and your friends, right? You're stuck in this weird world where it's kind of hard to be happy. But then if you're here in Maui, especially living on the beach, with, you know, people wanting to help you out everywhere you turn, it's really hard not to be happy, right? You're in a place where it's hard not to be happy, and you're in a condition where it's hard to be happy. So it's, I mean, if you got to go through the challenges of having your life in your town and your friends burned down, this has got to be the best possible scenario. Considering all that, I mean, it's really amazing. I mean, it's just surreal how blessed many of us are after the fire, you know, in our own little ways. Although it's not to say there aren't a lot of challenges, and everyone's going through their own individual everything. I mean, like, everyone I know gets money from Oprah except me, which is just weird. But I mean, it doesn't bother me. I'm an incredibly happy person, so it's all good. But it's just, it's gosh darn it, it would have been nice to have been accepted. Being rejected, you know, they don't feel good. But I wasn't entitled to it or anything for that matter in the first place, and I appreciate your help. You guys have been more helpful than Oprah ever could have been. So thanks for supporting the channel and my recovery from the fire and my comedy career. And if I succeed in comedy and can afford it, then maybe I can get into politics, or not. maybe I could just get politicians to listen to some of my great ideas. And so on and so on. All right. Um, yeah, be good to yourself, you know, and you know, if you're not healthy, you can't help anybody else, right? If your number one priority needs to be take care of yourself to the point where you're in good shape, and then you can take care of all your other things you care about, like others, and you know, things like that. Okay, have a great day. Aloha.